because in some cases, people with neck pain, when they lift their arms above their head, they tend to jet their chin upward. Hey, I'm Dr. Nick Smith, sports physical therapist and strength and conditioning coach, and today we're going to go over the 4 fundamental positions of the 3-month supine position. Now, most of you are probably wondering, like, what the heck is the 3-month supine position? So, a lot of the positions that I go over in these videos are fundamental kinesiology, things that we develop through our first year of lifespan, but they become foundational as adults. And we can often address movement dysfunction, and we can also help with the rehab aspect of whatever injury you might be having at the time. In addition, we can use these movements as ways to strengthen and build more resilience in the system. Now, the 3-month supine position is really important because it helps address primarily for the trunk. So if we're talking about spine health, back pain specifically, and even addressing our hips, this movement is incredibly important to add into our routine so we can, train the system and better improve our performance while reducing injury. Now, the supine 3-month position is in, you guessed it, supine. So supine means that you're laying on your back. So we're gonna start laying on our back here. Now, to do a little bit of a checklist, we want to work from the head down. So when we're starting, we want to make sure that our chin is nod down just a little bit. Traditionally, some people will have a little bit more of a rib flare, or their rib cage is up. I tell them to bring their ribs more down. And what you may notice as I did that, my pelvis goes into a little bit of a posterior tilt. So both of those in combination is going to make my spine in contact with the ground, and that's what we're looking for. When we do that, we have more surface area in contact with the ground, and it allows us to have better abdominal control when we're doing these different variations. Now, the 3-month position, if you were to watch a baby, what they end up doing is they hold this position and then they bring their legs up into about 90-90 of the hip and knee, 90-90 degrees. With that also, there's a slight external rotation, meaning my knee is slightly outside of my ankles. Once I'm here, I can hold this position. Now, once I'm here, this is actually pretty hard to do. Some people with low back pain, they can't even get into this position unsupported. So you can practice this with, if you're up on a couch, you can practice this trying to get into the position and hold it. Once you're here, and if you're not having back pain, you can start here. And this is going to be your starting position. Now, from this foundational position, once we have this nice and locked in, there are countless variations of exercises we can do to challenge the system more. So depending on what type of irritation in your spine that you're having, we can make small changes to it. For example, if you have back pain with lifting your arms above your head, you can control that exercise here and simulate that with doing an arm variation. If you're having pain with, say, squatting or some lower extremity exercise, you're having back pain, there are leg exercises or leg variations that you can do to make this exercise more challenging. So to start off, I want to implement, we're going to start with the upper extremity. So let's imagine for a second that, we are doing a military press, or we're simply just reaching for something on the top shelf, and that's when we feel our back pain, or what we call an extension sensitive low back pain. I'm going to show you a couple variations that you can do from more beginner to more challenging to challenge that system a little bit more and help you guys out. So to address the arms, we're going to get into our 3-month position. And what we can do simply is by holding this position of our spine, we're going to lift one arm. Come back, do the other. Kind of do an assessment on yourself. Like, does one side feel more stiff than the other? Does it feel harder? Is it harder to control? And the range of motion that we're going to play in is going to be how high can we lift our arms above our head while still maintaining good pelvis and rib cage control. And are you able to hold your chin up? Because in some cases, people with neck pain, when they lift their arms above their head, they tend to jet their chin upward. So where is the link? Where's that missing link? Where's the broken link? So can you stabilize and reach above your head while still maintaining this position? If you can, great. You can make it a little harder. So what I can do here is take small weight. You can use a backpack. You can use a book. If you have a sweet kettlebell, you can use that as well. Challenge the system by adding a little bit more resistance. Foundational positions still remain the same. The demand is going to be higher. You're going to have to create more tension through the arms in order to stabilize and maintain your rib cage and your pelvis position. In other cases, you can do this on one side. So I'll load it here. And on this side, because this kettlebell is pretty heavy, I'm not going to go very high. But I can still practice, challenge the system more. Then you can recheck your functional aggravating factor. If reaching overhead with a shoulder press is still hurting, you can recheck that and see if you're capable of doing those things again. So let's say we have more back pain involving our legs and leg movements. So we can focus on stabilizing while utilizing leg movements at the same time with this foundational position. And we can kind of simulate those things so we can reintroduce them. So hopefully be less painful if you're having pain, or if you're just looking to build up capacity in the spine. This is a great exercise to create stability proximally in our abdominals while our distal or further away is able to move. We, as my mentor Claire Frank would say, we want to make sure that we are wagging the tail. We don't want the tail to wag us. So our legs shouldn't dictate what our spine does. Our spine remains in control, so our legs are able to move. If this is stable, this can be more mobile. So we're gonna get into the same position. Everything stays the same. Checklist: chin, nod, ribs down, pelvis slight posterior tilt so our back is in contact with the ground. Once we are here, we can practice by just simply extending our knee. Can we stabilize while moving the knee? No pain? Great. We can do short lever, one at a time. We can do short lever, two at a time. That's a little harder. We can do long leg slides on each side. We can do long leg hover. And can you hold this position? That's the key. So there's a lot of different ways that we can challenge this, make it more challenging for us by increasing the lever arm. As our lever arm is longer, there's a greater demand on our abdominals to be able to stabilize here. This is incredibly challenging to do. So if you're noticing, hey, if I get to the long lever, I'm unable to keep my rib position there. So what you can do is play with partial ranges. You can go halfway. Oh, I can go there and I'm successful. Come back. Go here. Oh, still successful. Come back. Assess side to side. You can kind of self-diagnose yourself. And you can kind of make yourself a little bit of an expert of your own body. So once you kind of have a good base between the uppers and the lowers, you can really make this more fun, more challenging by using both the arms and legs at the same time. We're essentially just creating a greater demand on the spine by decreasing our base of support, but also increasing the lever arm. So one of the ones that's a little more fun is you can simply do opposite arm and opposite leg and opposite arm. So as I come down with one leg, I can lift up on the other side. And what you're gonna feel is the leg that comes down, the opposite side hip has to ground a little bit more. So you feel almost like a diagonal pattern of stability. And these positions seem really basic, but for jiu-jitsu people, this is closed guard. This is your home base. If you play guard, this is where you're gonna be the most stable. This position is gonna allow you to be able to transition well, be able to frame, be able to escape. So can you get into these positions and be able to resist somebody who's fighting against you? You know, this is your bread and butter. So if it didn't make sense as far as, you know, a pain aspect, to be able to perform and be able to hold this position, your guard is going to be stronger. You're going to be able to have your guard pass less, and you know, hopefully you'll be a better athlete for it. So hope you guys got to see this 3-month supine. Seems like a really basic position, but when you look at the details and what is actually playing, you know, each component of the movement can play a role in potential injuries that you might be having, or if there's any weak links in your game, where am I breaking down at? This can be a great position for you to improve your game and hopefully reduce your injury.